The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah!
Go Cowboys!
This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
C.D. Lamb, touchdown. End zone, Jake Ferguson. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Patrick Walker, Josh Rodriguez, and Kyle Youmans.
It's an off-season edition of Talkin Cowboys presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company, live from the Star in Frisco, Texas, and the SWBC Studios. Welcome in, everybody.
Come on, Tommy.
I'm
Tommy
still getting
Yarrish.
used to that.
Oh.
That's new for me. I'm
Do
sorry.
you want to try it again?
Let's do it again.
All right.
Run it back.
In the where?
Live from the
SWBC Studios.
From the Star in Frisco, Talkin Cowboys presented by Black
baby.
Rifle Coffee Company, the official coffee of the Dallas Cowboys. We've got Tommy Yarrish, Josh Rodriguez, Isaiah Stanback, Chris Beam in the back. I'm Kyle Youmans. Glad you're with us. We are going to start breaking down position by position what the heck the Dallas Cowboys are going to do in 2026.
What do you need?
What do you need? What do you got to do? What is going to happen from here on out? And I can already see the YouTube comments flooding in saying a whole new defense. Well, we're going to attack both sides of the ball. So we're going to get to talk a little bit of offense here as well. Glad you're with us.
I'm glad you're with us, Kyle.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
Tommy,
I
don't know.
I don't know. Tommy filling in for Patrick today.
I've already seen. I'm already seeing the booing coming in from our YouTube chat. I don't
What's the
blame him.
sounder there,
Oh,
Beam?
brother.
All right.
What is Tommy's deal?
He's got a big smile on his face as he's looking forward.
Looking for the ring.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I can hear him laughing from all the way over.
There's probably a contingency of Cowboys fans that think we actually don't like Tommy.
No, God, no.
And it's quite the opposite. It's like nobody actually dislikes Tommy.
This
in
strapping
the office.
young lad, no way.
Yeah. But no, we just love messing with him. Glad to have you with us. Appreciate you
Glad to
filling
be
in.
here. Always love being with you guys.
Let's throw you into the fire a little bit. How about a little news and notes? Because Cowboys had some things pop
Nose
up.
and
this
news,
past
dude.
week.
What you got?
I'm going to try to do my best for no C here. Biggest thing, couple big things happened this weekend. Scott Simons, the former SMU defensive coordinator, is hired as the inside linebackers coach. So
Pony up?
this year's staff a little bit different in the sense that you've got an inside linebackers coach and an outside linebackers coach. I was wondering if they would maybe do defensive line and outside linebackers, edges, pass rush, whatever you want to call it. And they are doing that. So SMU's defensive coordinator, Scott Simons, will coach the inside linebackers. That was Dave Borgonzi's job before. He's since gone to Tennessee to join his brother. And also what I was talking about earlier, the baldest coaching staff in NFL history, which is pretty
Saleh.
Saleh, Aaron
Dable.
White-Cotton,
Yeah.
Brian Dable. Yeah.
I actually have an interview with Tennessee.
Yeah, he's going to be there.
They all have great smiles.
He's going to host their podcast and run their website.
They do have great smiles. So Scott Simons, Broyles Award finalist nominee for the last 3 seasons. That's given each year to the top assistant coach in college football. 2024, he helped SMU reach their first college football playoff. This past year, they finished 5th in the country in turnovers, 5th in red zone defense, 8th in interceptions, 19th in rushing defense, and 23rd in sacks. So this SMU defense, which was kind of known, SMU was kind of known as an offensive program for a long time, especially because Rhett
this past
Lashley,
year.
their offensive play caller,
Yeah.
for the most part over the last few years, though, as they've been an offensive program. They put up a lot of points. Scott Simons is a guy that has helped bolster their defense. And then the other piece of news.
Well, I want to hit on that real quick before we move on. But Simon specifically, and I said this on 105.3 The Fan the other day, that's a big name to have in the coaching world in your hip pocket as a position coach.
Right.
Because of what he did at SMU as a coordinator. There were places in college football that may want his services as a head coach very soon, college football specifically. But you now have him as a position coach in the NFL, which is significant. And you take a look at the way that Christian Parker is putting the staff together. There is so much of an emphasis in the secondary. It's not even funny. And everybody at home's like, oh, but they hired him as an inside linebackers coach. Yeah, but look at who he coached at SMU. He coached safeties. He coached 2 of the best safeties, and I had a couple of their games this year. The safeties were the best part of their defense. No doubt in my mind. Ahmad Moses is a draft prospect that he's kind of a day 3 guy for me, but a pet cat that knows how to find the football. He helped single-handedly beat Miami. He had 2 picks of Carson Beck in that game in Dallas by himself from the safety position. And then you turn around and, of course, Miami goes on the run that they did and ended up in the national championship game. But Simons was a linebackers coach. Then he went to safeties coach. Then he was the DC and safeties coach, and now he's here coaching linebackers. So there's an emphasis in a lot of that, and he's going to bring some coverage ability in his teaching and in his communication with a lot of the linebackers that you have.
There's sort of a glass half empty, glass half full situation there too, because you're bringing on a guy who's going to be desired as a head coach probably in college, or maybe another coordinator position later on in the NFL.
Yeah.
And it may be one of those like flyer years where it's like he's trying to improve the defense right here and now, without the concern of longevity, without the concern of like he's going to be here in 2 or 3 years, because you need to get the defense fixed right now.
Yeah, I'm
just
cool
keep,
with
just
that.
keep that in mind.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I don't need my linebackers coach to be here every year. If he's going to come in and do an incredible job and then elevate, by all means, I'm cool with it.
My thing is like getting hyped for this guy that may be gone in a year, but it's like you're focused on what he's going to be able to provide to you right now.
I want to defer to Isaiah here, the player in the room. But when it comes to position coaches, and you've spoken on this before, how crucial is a position coach to the development and the teaching that happens throughout an offseason, into training camp, and then ultimately in the regular season too?
It's everything. That's who you spend your time with. Your coordinators speak to everybody, but your position coaches is who you rock with literally all day long. That's who you're in your meetings with. That's who you're doing your walkthroughs with. That's who you come back to whenever you come out the huddle. That is your headquarters. It's that, and then it's your coordinator, and then it's your head coach. Head coach might say something to you every so often. Your coordinator might speak to you every so often as well whenever you're finishing up a play or he needs you to do something. But overall, majority, I would say 70% of your coaching is coming from your position coach, if not more. So the relationship is important. The teaching style is important. Being able to connect with you at the level that you're at is important. And then benefit in terms of having a coordinator as a position coach is obviously going to help a young defensive coordinator, young first-time defensive coordinator as well, right? So I don't know him yet to understand how open and willing he is to absorb wisdom from others underneath his umbrella.
Talking about Parker?
Parker, yeah. But to have those resources underneath you is huge. And I think that we saw that last year out of Chicago in terms of what Ben Johnson did. He had, and I'm going to blank on the name, now the offensive coordinator for KC.
Eric Bieniemy.
He brought him in as a running back coach. Right? He was a running back coach for Chicago last year. Now, does Ben Johnson need anybody to help him with his game planning?
Nope.
No. But does it help to have somebody who has a great offensive mind? Yep. Maybe he sees something that you don't see when you're watching a film. Maybe he says, hey, let's throw this in there as well. Or I've done this in the past and that helped. So having somebody who not only has the ability to coach a position and communicate properly, but also having the wisdom of being able to facilitate entire units helps whenever you have that on your staff.
When you look at this staff, Tommy, across the board that Christian Parker has put together, it for the most part is kind of a young, refreshing look of young, hungry coaches. It's very different than what we've seen in the past couple of tenures with Zimmer and Eberflus. Not to say that they're tied together, but their staffs differently were similar, right? Where Christian Parker, it feels like there's a lot of young, hungry, coming up from college, coming from a position coach or an assistant position coach in certain areas around the NFL, trying to prove themselves, kind of like what Josh was talking about. Do you like that in the staff that's coming together? I know it's early and they're not playing games yet, but do you like the way that it's kind of been constructed in a different way?
Right. Sure. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, this is all going to be judged on wins and losses and performance, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't, the way they construct it, if they don't win, it doesn't necessarily matter. But I think what's interesting about this is I think back to when Brian Schottenheimer was hiring his offensive staff, and this is reminding me a lot of that process. You're seeing a mixture of guys who have coached in the league, who have been in the league for a long time, and an influx of younger guys who are at the college level, like a Junior Adams or Connor Riley. This is kind of the same thing that we're seeing now with this defensive staff, where Christian Parker and the Cowboys are plucking from the NFL, they're plucking from the college level. So they're looking at a bunch of different places and a bunch of different experience levels, guys who have been NFL defensive coordinators or NFL or collegiate defensive coordinators, and putting them all together so you kind of have this meshing of minds. And that can be beneficial because you get so many different viewpoints. But at the end of the day, this is a first-time coordinator in Christian Parker. Mm-hmm. And he's got to figure out, okay, what is my identity? What do I want my defense to look like? And push all those thoughts together and mend it into what he sees as his vision for this defense. That's the biggest question that's going to have to be answered by this Cowboys team going forward. But at the very least, at his disposal, he's got a good group of minds that he can bounce ideas off of and concepts that he can mesh together. Now it's just a question of, one, can he mesh together into a full identity for his defense? And two, can they get the personnel to execute it?
Do we know his personality, Christian Parker?
Excellent people person. Everybody who
a teacher,
he relates with young players very well. Everybody who
is he a disciplinarian? Is he a high energy guy? Is he?
I would say he's a little bit of everything. High energy guy. He's everybody we've talked to about him raves about him. His players love him.
He's a players coach.
Yeah, players coach.
I asked that because, and we know this, right? We've heard this 1,000 times, but it is true. Your unit is going to be a reflection of your coordinator's personality. So I need to know who he is as a person and energy-wise. I understand that he's a teacher and all those kind of things, but personality-wise, you're going to see that show up on the field for the defense, right? So I want to learn. I want to hear him talk more. I want to see him present more. I want to see who he is in that setting, and we'll obviously get a chance later on when he hits the practice field to get a better understanding. But that is such an important part. When you think about the great offenses, when you think about the great defense, it's always a reflection of the person that's calling the plays.
I completely agree with you. I think the best way I could describe it without seeing him on the practice field in person, keep that in mind, I would say smart and locked in, which is just kind of I feel like that's a cop-out answer, but he's very intentional. He's communicative, he's energetic, all of that. Kind of like what Tommy said, it's a mixture of a couple different things. But I would say the number one and number two things that stand out are his intelligence with the way that he's able to put together and teach. Okay. And then you've got the locked in ability, the intensity that he coaches with, which I think if those are two things that you can radiate to this defense, then count me in. I'm all for it.
And not to mention that the coaching staff he's put together, you guys mentioned it. Like you said, they're young and hungry, and hopefully guys that are able to communicate well to the players. Yeah. Communicate these complex defenses maybe to players that just had a lot of communication issues last year. You know, that maybe they weren't able to get that message across because they couldn't relate to them on a certain level. And granted, it's on the players too. You have to be able to, regardless of who's telling you what the scheme is going to be, you have to know it like the back of your hand, right? But at least now it's a little more relatable to them, hopefully. I'm just excited to hear from Christian Parker for the first time because we have not. Yep. There's been no availability. I think that the ice storm really ruined that opportunity for us, and hopefully it comes up here pretty soon.
If you're looking at Christian Parker and you're asking, what is the scheme? What is his personality like and things like that, we can give you an answer here just based off of what we've seen and what we've heard.
No, I've seen it
from far away. But even whatever happens when he finally takes over as the defensive coordinator and he's finally out on the practice field and in a game situation, it may be new to Christian Parker. Yeah. He may not know what his personality as a coordinator is or what he's going to do from a scheme standpoint, because we've heard them say, oh, he's going to take principles from Vic Fangio. Oh, he's going to take principles from some of these other guys that he's been underneath before.
He's going to figure himself out.
He's going to have to find what puzzle pieces fit in his mentality and I think that's thought process.
And that's the only thing that gives me a little bit of hesitation in regards to excitement.
Sure.
Because while figuring out who you are, at the simultaneously trying to establish a culture and an identity while teaching others underneath you to embody and teach what you're trying to push forward. Well, right. So it's almost like I don't want to put anything on him. I don't know the man, right? But I know, in anybody even listening, as you're trying to figure out who you are, if you are leading other people while figuring out who you are, it's going to take some patience because you're going to move the needle multiple times.
Yeah.
And as you're trying to say, hey, Josh, I need you to get on board with this, and then you see it and you're like, I don't like the way that's coming. Hey, Kyle, we're going to change things up and we're going to go this direction now. it's going to require some patience from these coaches now that are underneath his umbrella to understand that he's going to be moving things around and changing things, and maybe what he initially comes out with and starts trying to teach isn't what's going to necessarily stay that way, right? So understand it's a lot. So I'm just telling people to have a little bit of pump the brakes a little bit.
Yeah.
It's going to take time, and we mentioned this a couple weeks ago, but also understand that his philosophies may change throughout this offseason going into the season as he realizes that what he thought about, right, and where he foresaw isn't necessarily the way in which he truly wanted it to pan out. So he's going to have to make adjustments.
Well, who better to lead him through that than his head coach in Brian Schottenheimer, who just came off of his first Worldwood season as a head coach, who had a lot of ups and downs and was still able to build a culture, his culture within the team while having ups and downs of a regular NFL season with a personnel that you didn't necessarily build on your own and a defense that was almost entirely not your identity, right? You were just kind of going along with it so you can get through your first year and really figure out, okay, this is what we're going to do.
What would seem to be more problematic is if, to Isaiah's point, he comes in with a mindset of, okay, this is what we're going to run, this is how we're going to do it, and he can't adapt. If you can't adapt in today's NFL, you're cooked.
It's all that in 2025.
You just can't. You just have to do it. But I think it'd be silly to expect Christian Parker to come in and all of a sudden top 10 defense. I just don't think that's going to happen for Dallas. But I think that if you can recognize that this is, something that may take some growing pains initially. And here's the great part for Christian Parker. He has the best job in the world because it is going to be very difficult to be worse than this 2025 crew. I'm sorry, but it really is. Yeah. So if you show any sign of improvement, that is an improvement for the team, and you bought yourself another year. So, we talk a lot about how many coordinators has been 4 or 5 in the last 5 years?
4 and 4 years.
I don't think that's going to be the pace for Christian Parker just because the bar is literally that low. And he's got a chance to build something up and build stability.
And if he's good enough, and this goes from the worst defense in 2025 into a top 5 defense, then it might be 5 coordinators in 5 years.
It probably will.
Hey,
it might be one of the best coaching jobs ever.
Yeah, who knows? But all right, what was the other piece of news and notes that you?
Yeah, this is great for our guy Nate Newton. This is really cool. He received a official pardon from President Donald Trump, and Jerry Jones got to deliver the news to him over the weekend. And Nate talked a little bit to Nick Eatman. He said, quote, "Me and Mr. Jones have had a lot of talks, some good, some not so good. He tells it like it is." And he said, "You've been pardoned from the president." I just sat there for about 30 seconds to a minute. I was stunned, but I told him, "You tell the president, thank you very much." Man, I think I speak for all of us when I say that, Nate is such a bright presence around this building, and he has done so much to help all of us and, uplift the mood in this building, and just an excellent human being who has made the most of his second chance and is just a fantastic person to be around. We all love him in this building. Congratulations, Nate. I think we're all super happy for you, buddy.
Yeah. We love Nate. I don't know, Isaiah can speak to this too, just because we've spent 100 game days now in the studio watching football with Nate. It is one of the more enjoyable moments of my entire year. And it is one of the more beneficial to my career in general because I've learned so much from Nate. I've learned how to handle yourself. He's stopped me a couple times. Isaiah's been around it where I get either heated or I'm upset at something. And I mean, he's kind of that cool, calming shoulder now. You talk about turning a new leaf and really reshaping your life. And he found his faith. He found himself in it. And it really is cool to see somebody if you have, no matter what your political affiliation is, this is not politics. We're not talking politics. Whatever it is, Nate Newton deserves that type of pardon. He 1,000% deserves it from seeing him firsthand for the past 7 years. He is one of the best individuals in the building. So like you said, Tommy, well said on your side. I couldn't be happier. I literally ran into the room and yelled it to my wife. And she scared her for a second. I was like, Nate got a pardon. I was like, this is awesome. It felt like my favorite sports team had just won a championship because I couldn't feel much better than I do for the guy and what he deserved to this point.
Yep, that's my dude. I love him. Big Nate Dog. One of these guys, just going to repeat what they said. Great human being, deserves everything, deserves to not have restrictions on life. And to his point that he mentioned, I think on one of the DLL or whatever the name of that show is, he was talking about his grandkids, right? And that's what his focus is now. Like he talks about putting money in his grandkids' accounts and saving money for college. Like his focus is ensuring that they see him in a light that he envisions. And the internet's the internet. You'll be able to go back and see everything, right? But at the end of the day, you'll be able to see that he has the same freedoms as everybody else has. He should. So
yeah. And one more quick thing. I really do hope this means that we see his name in the Ring of Honor soon.
Absolutely.
I think that I hope his grandkids get to experience that.
That'd be really cool.
That I would do freaking cartwheels.
Yeah. There's no one more deserving than,
think
than Nate Newton.
I would actually
do the
cry
cartwheels
tears.
with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be the coolest thing ever. Congratulations, Nate. We love you, buddy, and we'll see you again here on Hanging with the Boys within the next couple days. I don't know what day they go on in the offseason.
I think it's Thursday.
It's a Thursday. We'll see them on Hanging with the Boys on Thursday. All right. When we come back on Talking Cowboys, we're going to start breaking down position by position what the Cowboys need this offseason. What do they currently have? What is the next step? Do you attack it in the free agency side of things or the draft? We're going to talk about a couple of positions today, starting with the defensive line. Oh, no, linebackers first. I couldn't remember what I put in the rundown. Linebackers first when we return with more Talking Cowboys.
How's it going? You see that Cowboys game?
Oh, I watched. Been seeing some good things.
Totally. They have some talent.
Yup, some great talent.
And they got some fight.
Hoping this is the year.
Me too. Oh, I'm Cody, by the way.
I'm Travis.
Nice to meet you, Travis. Go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys!
Make a new friend based solely on their shirt choice. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Copyright 2025 Bank of America Corporation.
Cowboys fans, we've got big news. Black Rifle Energy is now available at Texas 7-Eleven stores. And for a limited time, you can score 2 cans for just $6 at participating locations. These cans pack a serious punch, 200 milligrams of caffeine, veteran-crafted flavor, and the clean energy you need to power through those long days. So the next time you roll into your neighborhood 7-Eleven here in Texas, grab that 2 for $6 Black Rifle Energy deal and fuel up the American way. Black Rifle Coffee, America's coffee.
Every day begins with a promise to work hard and to build a future. That's why we're here, providing the tools, expertise, and John Deere equipment you have relied on for generations to help you get the job done right. We're with you. That's our promise to you, because no matter the project or the challenge you're facing,
We're with you! We're united!
At AT&T, we guarantee our network so you can talk college football with your BFF while taking Buster to the vet.
Hey, yeah, I can't believe he ate the whole thing of chicken wings.
And I can't believe we're staging a comeback. Touchdown! Yes!
Staying connected matters. That's why in the rare event of a network outage, you'll automatically get a bill credit for a full day's service. For wireless downtime lasting 60 minutes or more caused by a single incident impacting 10 or more towers, must be connected to impacted tower at onset of outage. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See att.com/guarantee for full details.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Back here on Talking Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company, the official coffee of the Dallas Cowboys. Glad you're with us. I did get Josh a mug, by the way. For everybody that was wondering, I got him a mug.
Fake news.
I also got one for Chris Beam. We got everybody taken care of. Tommy, I'm going to get you one
chopped liver.
You weren't on
Kyle
the show.
kept to his word.
I just wanted everybody to know. I got 400 DMs that said, you better get Josh a Black Rifle coffee mug.
I used mine like 10 times already.
I mean, dude, I'm using it right now. It's phenomenal.
It's a good Did you hand wash it, though?
I did. I mean, like halfway.
That just means
yeah, it's supposed to wash it. Throw some coffee in there. Get over it.
Hot pressure wash.
You deal with it.
You know, coffee's antibacterial. It's fine.
It's hot anyways. It burns off
It's
all
just
the
bean
germs.
water, no big deal.
They used to make it in a campfire. All right.
You ever meet someone that has the coffee pot that they never rinse out, like it's brown all the way through?
Yeah.
It's supposedly
I'm
called
not gonna throw
Cowboy
names.
Coffee.
I'm good, dude.
Real Cowboy Coffee is Black Rifle Coffee. You know what I'm saying?
Glass sustained.
The official coffee of the Cowboys.
Right.
That's why it's the only
But
Cowboy
it just
coffee.
gross, you know, at like I can't say the name. So breakfast establishment, a diner, if you will.
Okay.
And they have the old mugs that have like the on the inside, you could see like all of the years of coffee that have been.
I went to the location by your house a couple weeks ago with the family.
Did you?
Went in there,
Black Rifle
didn't
Coffee.
come by
and, I,
and say
and, I
hi?
bought, and I bought a T-shirt, and I was mad that it wasn't a game day because I wanted my 10%
off. Yeah, you got to wait until next year for that one.
I was so mad.
That's a bummer. All right, let's talk about these positions. Going position by position. We're going to do this over the next couple weeks and kind of hit the number one spots of need, but also some not so spots of need, just to address what these positions are and what the Cowboys currently have at the spot. We're going to start with linebacker.
Let's do it.
Tommy, you had a funny off-air comment earlier where you said, my first question was, what do they have at linebacker to address it? And your answer was?
Not a lot.
Not a lot at linebacker.
Yeah, I think that, when you look at this team and the fact that Shamar James, I think, was their leading tackler or second leading tackler, maybe behind Kenneth Murray.
Correct. 80 to 81.
Oh, okay. I thought he beat him. That's interesting. That's interesting to say the least. I think that's, credit to Shamar James, a 5th-round pick, for being that impactful in terms of statistically, but you can't count on that. And I think we saw a lot of what he had in college, where he would fly to the ball really well, but sometimes he'd over pursue and miss tackles.
Say that about Shamar. Don't you do it?
What'd I do?
I like Shamar James.
I'm not saying I dislike him.
You watch it, buddy.
I think in the right system, he's going to be a lot.
Well, I think
he's a hitter.
With the right, he is a hitter. I think, but I still think that there's work to be done there, and I don't think that. There's just a lot of question marks to that position. I think the biggest one you got is DeMarvion Overshown, who has been injured the last couple of years, and now he's going into a contract year. So if he balls out, he plays full 17 games, he's fully healthy this season. Do you feel confident enough to pay him?
No.
That's a big question. I wouldn't feel good about it either. You've got Maris Leafau in that room who 2024, towards the end of the year, you said to yourself, okay, it seems like he's starting to carve out a role and put things together. 2025, it's where is this guy?
Yeah.
And he one, couldn't find the field, and two, when he was on the field, just didn't make the proper plays.
He was not in Eberflus's favor for whatever reason.
Yeah, I think he is not the typical kind of linebackers that Matt Eberflus has liked in the past. Those stockier, bigger guys who just run and hit. I think he's really good as a blitzer, and I think that's where he should carve himself out a role.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And then you got Kenneth Murray, who was, I think you've seen enough tweets and TikToks, and
he's still under contract.
Yeah, he's free agent.
He's free agent.
Oh, you're right.
Him and Jack Sanborn.
Yeah, you're right.
Jack Sanborn.
I don't think they'll be coming back.
I would doubt it. Sanborn was a guy that I didn't think was that bad in Chicago, but for whatever reason, and of course injuries as well, just didn't work in Dallas. And then they trade for Logan Wilson in the middle of the season, and there was a week where they straight up forgot to put him on the field, or just didn't think to put him on the field. So it was a lot of moving parts, and it's a room that it's no wonder when we're on the draft show, and we'll talk about it here in the next hour or so, that linebacker is one of those positions that you feel like is a big need that you could address in the draft or in free agency, because it's clear that they need some help in that room.
If you are going to see a switch between a 4-3 and a 3-4, right? You're going to see 3 down linemen instead of the 4. Does that change the roles that you see in the current linebacker room?
Yeah.
Quite a bit, right?
It changes your entire defensive roster.
Completely.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do that, this is kind of the time to do it, because you don't have a foundation to lay with, right?
It would be.
Lay down.
And you have the defensive tackles to make a 3-4 work.
Absolutely.
You do. You do. To put an emphasis on the secondary so much, I'm hard-fetched to see them go to a 3-4.
You don't think so?
No.
Even with hiring an outside linebackers coach and an inside linebackers coach?
I think it's just them preaching multiples.
You think so?
Yet again.
Yeah, multiples is fine. 3-4 is a very specific scheme. Very specific scheme, and it requires very specific position groups in terms of those outside linebackers. It's a very particular personnel that you have to have. It's not like it's interchangeable with your 3-4. I mean, your 4-3 guys and your 3-4 guys. It's not. You need, if you're going to have a 3-4, you need the big fellas in the inside, which you already said that you have. And if you're playing a 3-4, your stand-up ends, okay, your stand-up ends are 6'4", 260, 270.
Yeah.
They're not 220. They're not 225. It's just not, right? Because what they're being asked to do is literally funnel everything in. Like as a 3-4 outside linebacker, which is really a stand-up defensive end, these are big human beings that are tasked with capping off the ends of the line of scrimmage. They are literally the bottleneck. Hey, everything stays inside, nothing gets outside. So that means those guys are literally, their job is to take on offensive tackles and tight ends.
Yeah.
That's their role. So your current personnel at linebacker doesn't allow for that. And if you're going to go get guys, now you're hoarding defensive ends.
Mm-hmm.
And last time I checked, you don't have a bunch of those.
No.
Not that you feel confident in anyways.
So, I mean, you're talking about going, if you were to become a primarily 3-4 defense, you're talking about going and acquiring 5-6 guys that are 6'4", 6'5", 260 plus pounds.
You got to get big guys.
Yeah. Like you have to literally go get all these guys. And last time those guys aren't just laying around.
No, it's hard to find. And
you got Clowney.
You got Jadeveon Clowney. And
that's kind of your guy.
That's
if you re-sign him, he's also a
he's a free agent. But I mean, you would need to go find
James Houston is probably undersized for that.
He's
Donovan Ezraku is definitely undersized.
Definitely undersized for that.
You would loved, and rest in peace, Marshawn Nealon. You would have loved to have him in that spot because he's a bigger bodied defensive end. He's a guy that can be an edge rusher and could have stopped the run and could have been that outside linebacker spot. It would have been perfect. But
Donovan Ezraku, if he puts on 20 pounds,
maybe
he could be your guy. He could be a guy. I don't know about your guy.
Do you want him to put on 20 pounds?
I don't know. I think he has to put on at least 10.
Regardless of a change.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Let me ask you this as a fan who's also curious of your perception of just the game of football and how it's evolving.
What's
that?
So you're not a fan, you're a reporter?
A fan of football.
Okay.
If you have the defensive tackle personnel that Dallas has, where they're so big and so powerful, do you feel like you can have some of those undersized guys and push them out a little bit more and just let them pin their ears back? If those three guys take up
as a
3-4, as a 3-4, yeah.
No.
You don't think they can go 5-man, put 2 pin your ears back, pass rushers wide, and
no, because I'm down, and around. If I'm offense, I'm down. I'm taking my tackle. I'm cracking on the 5 technique, and then I'm pulling my guard and I'm getting out on your defensive end / outside linebacker, and I'm kicking him out, and then we're off and running. It's if
you have to set the edge regardless.
If you can't set the edge in a 3-4, you're not running a 3-4. It's the reason why every successful 3-4 has had bigger guys. They're literally defensive ends that are standing up, like old school defensive end, not the new age. I'm talking about like the Myles Garretts, the Clowneys, like these massive human beings, right, that can set the edge, and 330-pounders can't move them. Because that's what you're asking them to do. You're asking me to come off the edge, put my one hand in your chest, hold you there, and make sure that no running back can get outside of me. I can't do that at 230 pounds. When I played tight end at the end of my career, I was playing in Jacksonville with Mercedes Lewis. I would kick Mercedes Lewis butt in the weight room and everybody else in the weight room. I was weight room strong, but I was 240 pounds. And they put my hand in the ground. I was supposed to be playing hybrid tight end like Hernandez, right? That was that age. But they would put me in a wing position, and Mercedes would be at the line of scrimmage. I'll be in a wing set, and they would have me go try to crack back on these 3-4 defensive linemen. I couldn't do it. I physically couldn't do it. I was strong enough to do it, but I couldn't do it. I had the will, I had the determination, I had the angles. When they're 300 pounds and I'm 240, it doesn't matter what the weight room says.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. Physics alone just says, nah, player, you can't do your job. So, like, that's one of the reasons why it just didn't work out for me there, and I was done. Because it's like I couldn't do what was being asked of me physically.
So in order to make a switch to 3-4, because it feels like there's a large number of Cowboys fans that are convinced that it's going to be a 3-4. I'm kind of with you. I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be more of a multiple. It's going to be a 4-3, and we're going to see a lot of that as the base, and then some odd man fronts here and there.
Situational.
Situational.
Yeah.
With that being said, where do you feel like the need is at linebacker? I don't want to necessarily talk defensive ends yet, but where is the linebacker need? Is it free agency, veterans, or do you need young talent that you can build on and develop at linebacker?
Well, currently, I would say free agency, because I think there are proven guys that are headed to free agency that you can count on, because you currently have no true coverage eraser.
Yeah.
If you look at the targets of the guys that you currently have, this is disregarding Murray and Sanborn, who probably won't be back, like we said, but Shamar James, 31 targets, 28 catches. Overshown, 12 targets, 10 catches. Leofau, 11 targets, 10 catches. Wilson, 13 targets, 9 catches. That is just a very high percentage pass completion against these guys, because they are running to the play. They're not diagnosing and they're not sticking in the pocket, right? My thing with getting a new linebacker is that you want somebody that is established as a guy that has longevity, a guy that is stable, a guy that can diagnose plays and is available. So all of those things, just grab that guy, right? Yeah. There are names out there, and you would have to really fight for them, because they could get franchise tagged. Who knows? But at least for me right now, you want a guy that's established in the league. You had a chance for that with Bobby Wagner a few years ago. Didn't take it. Isaiah, well, I will say, was one to really champion that, and he played pretty well. So I think you want to get an established guy in free agency, because they still work out.
Yeah.
Those linebackers, you want somebody that has that wisdom, that intelligence for diagnosing play.
Understand this. I stand on the table. I've said this before. I believe that linebacker is the easiest position on the defense to go get a established player in free agency. So that's not to diminish the position. That's just to say that it's easier to plug a linebacker into your system than it is any other position group on defense. Corners and safeties cost a premium. It makes more sense,
especially corners,
right? So it makes more sense to go draft those guys and develop those guys than it is to try to go grab one of those guys in free agency and think that that's going to change your entire defense.
And I think the reason why they are a premium and why they are as expensive is that it's rare that those draft and develop guys are NFL ready immediately.
Absolutely.
That position.
Absolutely.
There's a couple of those guys, but they're going to go top 15.
And there's very few. I mean, you'd be hard-fetched to name 10 dominant corners in this league.
Yeah.
It's just a position that's a premium. It's not an easy position to play.
And it's also week to week too.
Absolutely, right? So it's easier. I don't know. It's better to go develop those guys, get some young, talented guys that fit your scheme that you can develop with coaching, right? You're seeing an emphasis on coaching. We saw that with the offensive line last year as well, right? They're putting a huge emphasis on coaching those guys up. It's harder to go find guys at those positions, so get them in a draft. Linebacker is a position that, again, he's the quarterback of the defense, typically. All right, most defenses. You would prefer to have an experienced quarterback than you would have a young quarterback that hasn't seen much. Same reason why you would want an experienced middle linebacker versus a young linebacker that hasn't seen much. These offenses are complex now. It is what it is. So you need that guy to have the wisdom, to have the fortitude, and have the command in respect of everybody around him to be able to communicate what is being told to him by his defensive coordinator and be able to make sure that everybody is doing what they need to do. You need wisdom for that. Reason why I stood on the table for Bobby. Bobby's going to put your defense in position. Whether the guys around him can do it, I don't know, right? But he's going to see it and diagnose it and put guys in position. The guys that they still talk about around that were great linebackers for the Cowboys. What were they able to do? Yeah. See it, diagnose it, put guys in position. You need that at that middle linebacker position. So I would much rather the Cowboys spend some money and go get a solid piece to put in the middle and then use this physically talented group that is hungry and eager, that can learn, that's smart. Put those guys on the outside of those guys, and then you can have a good defense that can play well at the second level.
So you need a dog at linebacker.
You need
at least.
You need a smart, well-respected dude that when the quarterback steps to the line of scrimmage, he's like, crap, this is a chess game.
Yeah.
The quarterback needs to get to the line of scrimmage. The center gets down, puts his hand on the ball, and he looks at that dude square in his eye. He's like, all right, here we go. Yeah. Right? I make a change, he makes a change.
Someone
right?
seen it all.
Yes.
Interesting. All right, when we come back, we're going to flip it to the offensive side of the ball before we wrap up on Talking Cowboys. We'll talk offensive tackle. Same question. What do you have? And it's also a loaded answer in that one as well. When we come back, more Talking Cowboys right after this.
At AT&T, we guarantee our network so you can talk college football with your BFF while taking Buster to the vet.
Hey, yeah, I can't believe he ate the whole thing of chicken wings.
And I can't believe we're staging a comeback. Touchdown!
Yes!
Staying connected matters. That's why in the rare event of a network outage, you'll automatically get a bill credit for a full day's service. For wireless downtime lasting 60 minutes or more caused by a single incident impacting 10 or more towers, must be connected to impacted tower at onset of outage. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See att.com/guarantee for full details.
Cowboys fans, we've got big news. Black Rifle Energy is now available at Texas 7-Eleven stores. And for a limited time, you can score 2 cans for just $6 at participating locations. These cans pack a serious punch, 200 milligrams of caffeine, veteran-crafted flavor, and the clean energy you need to power through those long days. So the next time you roll into your neighborhood 7-Eleven here in Texas, grab that 2 for $6 Black Rifle Energy deal and fuel up the American way. Black Rifle Coffee, America's coffee.
If you shout, "How about them Cowboys?" you have that undeniable passion that's the heart of Cowboys Nation. And if you like to drink Dr. Pepper, you love the unique blend of its 23 flavors. Together, your one-of-a-kind fandom paired with the one-of-a-kind taste of a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper is the game day lineup that can't be beat. Better yet, gather your Cowboys and Dr. Pepper fan friends to watch the next game and crack open a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper for everyone. The wins will be even tastier. It's a pepper thing.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Back here on Talking Cowboys, this segment is brought to you by Invisalign, the official smile of the Dallas Cowboys, with Tommy Yarrish, Josh Rodriguez, Isaiah Stanback, Chris Beam in the back. I'm Kyle Youmans. Glad you're with us. All right, moving on to offensive tackle. Same questions, gentlemen. Josh, what do they have at offensive tackle?
Well, they currently have under contract Tyler Guyton, first-round pick, Terrence Steele, Nate Thomas, and Hakeem Adeniji as a depth piece there. As far as coaching changes, you haven't really seen a whole lot. Connor Riley's still sticking around as far as we know. But they did add Kyle Fuller as an assistant offensive line / quality control coach. Yeah, that's what you currently have.
So now you have 3 offensive line coaches.
Kind of.
Arguably.
The question now becomes, and this is the question that a lot of people have been asking on other spots. I'm okay asking the question because I've said it from the last 3 years or more. Are you ready to move on from Terrence Steele?
No.
Okay. Why is that?
I like the stability there.
I like T Steele.
Yeah. I think at least if the rest of the line is performing well, I don't think he's going to bring you down a lot. 11 sacks in 2025 is very concerning.
Yeah, he didn't have a great year.
It's not great.
Yeah. But I'm not giving up on him because of that year.
No, not at all. And if you're able to restructure his contract a bit, I don't see a problem with where he's at because I don't think that's the be-all, end-all of
If you restructure, I'm cool.
Yeah.
If you restructure, I'm good. But with what they're paying now,
yes,
and the production that he's given you, not just this past year, but over the course of the contract,
yes,
he hasn't lived up to that number.
That's fair.
That's a lot of guys. Though. Unfortunately,
you're right.
Guys get the contract, the play falls off. I would assume, and I put this on both parties. I put this on T Steele to analyze, to self-scout. I just saw some of the coaches in there. Right? I said, "What are y'all up to this week?" He said, "Self-scouting." I said, "Awesome." Right? I would assume that T Steele self-scouting himself and analyzing and saying, you know what? That's not T Steele out there.
No.
That was just TS. That wasn't T Steele. So he needs to get back to being T Steele, somebody who's sound. Wasn't dominant. He's never been dominant.
No.
But he's been sound, right? Historically. He's somebody who has that dog in him. That's something that we do know, right? I don't question that about T Steele at all. He'll go fight for anybody on that offensive line. And injuries, whatever, all that stuff happens, right? But I put the responsibility on the coaches as well to say, hey, you guys have invested so much with this offensive line coaching. Y'all need to take somebody who has the will, determination. If that's the case, still, right? I haven't talked to him. Will, determination, and ability, and make sure that he's who you guys need him to be. And again, I put that on both parties, the player and the coaches. But T Steele is capable. He's capable. I've never seen T Steele switch it off. Have you seen him had bad play? Yes. But you see that with every player in the league, right? You just don't want to see the other players that you're paying a lot of money to, but it still happens.
Right.
As you switch to the other side, that's where I have questions.
I have questions there too. I have questions.
I have more questions there than I do with the right side.
Okay.
Well, really quick though, what was your purview on Steele?
Steele is like sleepy, one of the biggest decisions this team has this offseason. To a degree, you understand why they'd want to keep him because he is such a plus for you in the run game.
Yep.
I think he and Tyler Booker, when they ran right side, they had a lot of success with it.
Two dogs.
And those two dudes were just moving people.
Yep.
And it's not surprising because Zach Martin loved playing with Terrence Steele because those two did the same thing. So from a run game perspective, with how good this offensive line was schematically and how good of a job Clayton Adams and Connor Riley did just setting things up to run the football, I can understand why they'd want to keep Terrence Steele. It's the pass protection that really worries you. And he's had the injury stuff that he's dealt with. And is he ever going to be back to what he was before that? That's the tough part, especially because of the money that he's going to cost you and the fact that they're $30 million in the red already in cap space with so many holes. Now, if you let him go, you'd be creating another hole, essentially. I understand that. But my question would be, how confident is this staff in their ability to develop guys and put a guy in there and allow them to fill that role? Because if you feel like any of these guys, like a Nate Thomas who had I think roller coaster is a good word for it, of a year. They drafted a Johnny Cornelius in the 6th round last year. Is he a guy that who played right tackle at Oregon? Is he a guy that you maybe want to give a chance to? There goes Isaiah's opinion. It's very interesting as it stands right now. I think there's just too much. He's being held back. I don't know how much you would save restructuring. You would save a lot more by letting him walk.
Yeah.
And so that makes me kind of lean that way, but I could see them going either way.
The dead cap this year, by the way, the dead cap, if you were to let him walk, would be 7.3. So, or excuse me, 9.3. So that's what it would take. But his cap hit is twice that. It's 18.2.
Let me ask you, I mean, this is a longer conversation, but just to end it really quickly on Steele, if you do not restructure him, if you don't keep him, you're then relying on who knows at right tackle.
Exactly.
And then also Tyler Guyton, who has not been available.
Yep. That's what makes it really tough. That's what makes it. That's why I said it's one of the toughest decisions they've got this year. Because if you are left at tackle with 2 big question marks, that could be
what you have going. Even if you keep both of those guys,
sure, yeah,
it's a question mark at both spots.
That has the potential to be disastrous.
He's been one of the worst pass blocking tackles in football the last 2 years.
But he's such a good run.
But he is a great run blocker,
which is what makes it really hard.
Okay, so do you think that he could be a good pass blocker?
I hope so. Because
so
we
then,
haven't.
So then it
we've
falls
seen
on a
him
coach.
maybe
So then it
once.
falls on a coaching.
There's been 1 year where he's been a solid pass blocker.
So we know
and that's what earned him the contract.
Yeah, so we know he's capable of doing it. So then, what responsibility falls on the coaches?
A lot of that.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a capability thing. It's not a want to thing. It's an execution thing. So that falls on the player and the coaches. Like that's why I don't have an issue with T. Steele. Yes, he needs to improve his game, and he will. I foresee him improving his game. But the coaches have to invest in him, right? There's other people who I don't even know if they want to play. That I can't have.
I do agree with Isaiah. The bigger questions on the left side.
I think I'm right there with you, but you can't necessarily move on from him.
No.
You can't move on from Tyler Guyton.
No.
You have a question mark on what you could do with Terrence Steele. With Tyler Guyton, there's not a whole lot you can do there.
You just have to hope he stays healthy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And one of the best things for him might be moving him to right tackle. Let's be completely honest. That's where his college tenure was. That's where he was comfortable at. He's played both positions before. He was better at right tackle. So that might be what's best for Tyler Guyton.
Do you know that he wants to be there week in, week out? Do you have that confidence?
Tyler Guyton?
Yes.
That he wants to be at left tackle or right tackle?
That he wants to be here playing.
Playing, available.
That hesitation, that gives you your answer. That gets your answer. Like that's what me.
Then what do you do with him?
I don't know. The evaluation process was wrong, in my opinion. And I don't put that on any guy. I just go off of what I see. I just go off what I see. And and again, he has the power to turn it on or turn it off. We've seen that. Turn it on, turn it off. Injuries are injuries. A will and determination should never be questioned in my eyes. That should never be questioned because that's something that you're wholeheartedly in control of. And I have questions when I watch him at practice. I have questions when I watch him in games. I don't want to have questions about people who are tasked with executing and who are tasked with protecting.
One of the top positions in
much
the
less the blind side of $60 million quarterback.
So when we compare, if we're comparing the tackles on this roster, the two starting tackles, one is a dog that is an absolute beast in one aspect of his game, doesn't turn it off, may not be the great at execution all the time as of late, right? Has some injuries and things of that nature, but you know what you're going to get, right? So I can coach that. You ask any coach, I will take that all day long.
You can coach around it.
I can coach that, yeah, absolutely. Knowing whether or not that person wants to play, I can't do nothing with that. And yes, now contractually they're in a bind. And can he be an absolute beast? He can be an absolute beast. Can be.
Just hasn't. It's a question mark. And I think there's a split between Cowboys fans. I'm even trying to read like where the chat is leaning, and I don't have a spot where they're leaning one way or the other. If you do have an opinion on this, reply to Talkin Cowboys on X. Reply to the live stream. I want to see what people are thinking so that way we can kind of look through it as well.
Just don't draft one. Please.
I don't think that.
Please don't. Not the first round.
Unless you just go unbelievably spend happy in free agency and revamp your entire defense, then we can maybe talk about drafting one. Maybe. But there's a lot that has to happen.
Go get Jason Peters. He's only like 48.
He was already here.
I think there are bigger problems.
All right. That does it for us here on Talkin Cowboys. Hope you had fun with us over the last hour. We will be back next Tuesday to break it all down for you again. 10 a.m. Central Time right here on DallasCowboys.com. Thanks again for Tommy Yarrish filling in this week. We might see him again next week. For Josh Rodriguez, Isaiah Stanback, Chris Beam in the back, I'm Kyle Youmans saying so long. We'll see you next week with more Talkin Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.